He's going to give a rundown of the scheduled events and the things that have taken place in the last 6 to 8 weeks. I think he can possibly answer most of your questions. However, if he doesn't, afterward we'll have public comment. You'll have 5 minutes to make your comment at that time. Okay, Mr. Pickard?
Thank you. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you coming to see me, and we value your concerns. Most of the directors sitting in here are having the same problems you are. We're not taking it lightly. I'll just say this right off the bat, we are concerned about it. We are working on it. Don Iles and myself are both working on this problem. We met with our chemical companies and advisors from laboratories and such, how to get a handle on this. If you'll be patient with me just a second, I'll begin and give you some kind of an idea of how long this has been going on, which you probably know better than I do, but the steps that's been taken to resolve this problem. And I think that you'll see, and I think Don will voice my concern in what we're looking at. This is not a quick fix. This is something that we've never seen before to this magnitude. It just won't go away. But I'll explain to you what we found out so far, if you'll just be patient with me. On May the 15th, we've noticed this red water or dirty water problem showing up in the system. We started flushing, mostly started in the Shamrock area. We'll call TCQ Ronald Hebert. He is the water section manager there at Region 10 on May the 18th. Requesting technical assistance to help to resolve the red water issue. After that, we'll call Gary Smith. He's a TCQ technical assistant contractor on May the 30th. He advised us to call for Austin for him to be dispatched to GM as soon as possible. Vance Hall, my manager here in the field, he called Austin for assistance that day. The same day, we collected samples of brown or red water, took samples to Nacogdoches East Texas Laboratories on the 31st to check for color, the cause, pH, aluminum, iron, and manganese. On June the 5th, Gary Smith, TCU contractor, here to help with dirty water. The same day when he came, we had the samples come back from the laboratory, which I have here. Anybody like to have a copy of these lab samples? They're right here. It shows high elevated levels of iron and manganese at city plant water, GM plant, and the distribution system. Mr. Smith also took samples for himself to carry back, and he met with the city employees out at the water plant, to see what was going on. I called Ronald Hebert, Texas TCQ water section leader at Region 10, about helping with dirty water again, advised him. He advised me that he will send an investigator in a week or two. Now that was about June the 6th. On the 22nd of June, Ronald Hebert, an assistant, was here about the dirty water issues, collected samples and suggested possible use of polyphosphate at each of GM take point of the city. We could submit a letter of intent to use later because of the situation. On June the 25th, we met with NAPCO Chemical Company Representative Jay Judge to set up polyphosphate at GM pump station. His suggestion is it would work possibly better if we was to introduce it at the city plant intake. On June the 26th, I met with Mr. Iles and discussed the red water issue and the use of polyphosphate at the city plant. Don agreed, both and I agreed, we'll need to discuss this with his operators to make them, what we need to do for approval. On June the 27th, I met with Daniel Baccaro, and I think this girl's name is Leslie Walpole of TCQ Region 10 about the red water issue. Submitted a copy of the lab results and agreed that he agreed that proper injection of polyphosphate should be at the city plant. On June the 28th, called Jay Judge of NAPCO Chemical Company to set up the trial use of polyphosphate at the Mid-Lake pump station. He arrived here on the 29th and set up the injection point and began to feed into the system. On July the 5th, water somewhat better at Mid Lake Fire Station. Vance and I met with city plant operator Donnie and agreed to take the second set of samples, including raw water samples of the lab in Nacogdoches, and hope to have the results back by July the 12th. Now, on July the 6th, Vance and I met with Don and discussed using the polyphosphate at the city plant and agreed to meet with GM, Napco Chemical Company, on the 9th. Well, yesterday we met with Don, city plant operators, Napco Chemical Company here at 9:30, and we discussed what we needed to do to set this up, but we needed further investigation to make sure we're doing the right thing. It's just something that you just don't want to jump and do and cause more problems. But we're all in agreement at this time that that's what we possibly should do, is introduce this polyphosphate. What the polyphosphate will do, it will sequester the iron and the manganese. It won't make it go away, but it keeps it encapsulated in a form where it won't fall out at your houses into the system. People that we've talked with, they've never seen this level of iron and manganese in surface water before. Typically, you'll see this in groundwater. This is not typical to see it in surface water. It's something brand new to deal with. We haven't got any answers from TCQ. To be quite frank with you, I think they're just kind of sitting in the middle of the road with this. They don't know what to do with it. But we're working very closely with the city. The city is working with us. We're working with the chemical company. We're working, keeping updated with the laboratory with our samples. And I can assure you, we're working on this. We're not turning a blind eye or a deaf ear to your problem. We realize that it is a major problem. It's ruining your clothes. It scares you to look at it. And I can't give you any excuse. The only thing I can tell you is that we're working on it and identify what it is so far. We flushed in excess of 1 million gallons of water on the ground in a month for nothing. Because everywhere we flushed, it still continues to be red. So that's what I can tell you right now. That's where we're at, and that's where we're working on it.